第三部分呢，我们就来讲解一下第4和第6题。首先呢，我们来看一下28题的第4题。Sometimes companies realize that consumers may have developed a negative impression of a product. One way in which they can resolve this problem is by using an advertising technique known as refute and persuade. 你看到这样一个专有名词就是我们需要解释的了。那么首先它是一个 advertising technique， 我们一定要抓住，然后抓住它上下文之间或者是段首和段尾对它的解释。Refute and persuade means that in advertising a product, the company first indicates its awareness of the product's disadvantage. 我们先承认哪儿不好。But then the company refutes or challenges that disadvantage by demonstrating how the advantage of buying and using the product makes up for any limitation it may have. In this way, companies can persuade customers to purchase a product despite its drawbacks. Explain how the example of the television advertisement for pots and pans from the lecture illustrates the technique of refute and persuade. 首先我们要来解释 refute and persuade 这样一个技巧是什么。然后其次呢，我们还要在听力中听到一个 example of pots and pans， 他们是如何宣传的。然后知道题目的要求我们就知道是要分2步来进行的。第一步呢是解释一下 the definition， 第二步呢是阐释 the example of the television advertisement for pots and pans。 知道这样一个题目的要求以后我们首先来听一下听力。
Now listen to part of a lecture in a business class.
All right. So, I actually saw a good example of this just the other day. I watched an advertisement on television for a well-known company's pots and pans. And in the advertisement, there was a woman, a professional cook, talking about how she uses the company's pots and pans in her own kitchen. Now, the woman in the advertisement began by saying that this company's pots and pans were expensive. She just came right out and admitted to the audience that they cost a lot more than most other companies' pots and pans. And she also said she realized that when people went shopping for new cookware, they might feel that they just didn't want to spend all that money on such expensive pots and pans, since there were so many others in the store that cost a lot less. But then she went on to explain that the extra cost was worthwhile, because although these pots and pans cost more to begin with, they actually saved you money in the long run. How? Well, they came with a special lifetime warranty, which meant the company would replace them free if anything ever went wrong. And that's something most companies that make pots and pans couldn't say about their products.
好的，听力过后呢，我们就来第一步 definition。那么 definition 通常是从 reading material 里面截取的。In this lecture, the professor talks about the refute and persuade advertisement technique, which means the company indicates the awareness of the disadvantage of the product first, and then refute the drawback by demonstrating the advantages of buying it. The example is the advertisement of a well-known company's pots and pans. The woman in the ad first says that it is a lot more expensive than most other pots and pans in the store. And this says the extra cost is worthwhile because the company provides lifetime guarantee, which means they provide free replacement if anything goes wrong. And most other companies can't give such guarantee to their products. 你这个地方就先第一个 definition， 我们先给出我们解释的这样一个名词是什么。其次呢 example， 你就非常详细的一步一步的，大家要训练听力做起，是吧？那么下一步呢，我们就来讲一下29套题的第4题。那么首先呢，我们还是来看一下这段材料，然后知道它讲述的是什么样一个内容，什么样一个现象。 Many animals live in environments where food is plentiful during certain times of the year and scarce during other times of the year. In such environments, some animals collect and prepare food when it is plentiful, then hoard it, store it for future use. 你这个还给解释了，如果你不知道 hoard 是什么意思啊，可以看 store 同义词，你其实就是把它存起来，那么以防饥饿的时候食物少的时候没有东西吃。Some types of hoarders engage in scatter hoarding. Unlike other types of hoarders, scatter hoarders do not store the food all in one place. Instead, they scatter it, divide it up, and hide it in many different places. Later, at a time when food is scarce, the hoarders return to these hiding places and recover the food. 也就是介绍了一种新型的储存食物的这样一种方式 scatter hoarding， 那么分散储存比那种直接 hoarding 要聪明的多了，对吧？分散在不同的地方，把它分离开。那么这样呀，哪怕别的动物找到了其中一份 food， 也不会影响到它们以后食物的供给。所以这就是咱们要解释的这个词 scatter hoarding， 也是通过这样一个部分理解出来的。所以呢，咱们一定要从 reading material 里面善于找这样一些重点句，那么它通常呢在段首、段尾或者在这个词的周围。我们来理解一下这个题意。Explain how the example from the professor's lecture illustrate the practice of scatter hoarding. 那么还是来解释这样一个现象到底是什么意思，而且还用到 example， 所以也是第一步呢 definition， 第二步呢 example， 所以这就是咱们答案的整个构成了。然后知道这个题目的要求以后我们首先来听一下听力。
Now listen to part of a lecture on this topic in a biology class.
Okay, so we sometimes see this with animals that live in parts of the world where it gets very cold in the winter. For example, in the northeastern United States, there's a species of squirrel that does this. This squirrel, like many species of squirrel, loves to eat nuts. Nuts are one of its primary sources of food. Now, nuts are very difficult to find in the winter, but in the autumn, they're lying all over the place, because that's when they fall from the trees. So, what this squirrel does is, in the autumn, it spends a lot of time finding nuts. After it finds a nut, it prepares it. It takes off the outer shell and cleans it. This preparation may in some way help preserve the nut or may make it easier to eat later on. The squirrel then digs a little hole in the ground and buries the nut. In one autumn, this squirrel may bury hundreds of nuts. But it doesn't just dig a big hole and put all the nuts in it and cover them up. No, it digs hundreds of holes all over the place, and it puts just one nut in each hole. Now, why would it do that? Well, primarily because even if other animals happen to find some of the holes, some of the nuts, the squirrel will still have a lot of other holes with nuts in them, so it'll still have enough food to survive the winter.
好的，听力过后呢，我们首先呢给出一个定义。The passage gives the definition of scatter hoarding, which means that some animals store food by dividing food into different places in order to survive food scarce season. In the lecture, the professor gives the example of a kind of squirrel. This kind of squirrel collects a lot of nuts in autumn, which is a season of nuts harvesting. It spends a lot of time collecting and preparing the nut because it is hard for it to find nuts in winter. Then it digs small holes on the ground and buries the nuts in the hole to preserve food. But it doesn't put all the nuts in one hole. It digs a lot of holes and put just one nut in one hole. 每一个洞只放一个坚果。Because even other animals find some nuts of them, the squirrels still have other nuts to help it survive the winter. 我们用一个 squirrel 这样一个例子呀，也是咱们听力中啊一定要认真仔细听的，它的一些举动如何分开啊，如何储存的，所以咱们要训练听力的时候啊，尤其要注意。还有就是做听力的时候啊，不要试图去记整句，而是记一些 keywords 加上瞬时记忆，还有对阅读材料的理解，这就足够了。我们来看一下第6题。那么首先看一下28套题的第6题。Using points and examples from the lecture, describe 2 ways that lakes can disappear. 那么湖消失的2种方法，2种途径是什么？我们知道了，咱们要听啊，就是要听这2种原因。然后首先呢，咱们来一个总括，然后1、2给出这个原因，这就是咱们作答的这样一个结构了。然后知道题目的要求以后呀，我们还是首先来听一下听力。
Listen to part of a lecture from a geology class.
So, when we look at lakes, they seem to be permanent. We assume they'll be around forever. But in fact, lakes aren't permanent. They can actually disappear. Sometimes they disappear through natural processes, and sometimes because of human activities. First, let's look at one way lakes can disappear naturally, and that is by gradually getting filled in with organic sediment. This often happens with lakes that have lots of plants growing in them. When the plants die, they break down into a muddy substance which falls to the bottom of the lake. They're then replaced by new plants which eventually also die and fall to the bottom. And over the years, all this dead plant material builds up on the bottom of the lake. And as it builds up, it starts to fill up the lake, and there's less and less room left for water. And eventually the lake gets completely filled in and disappears. Okay, and lakes can also disappear, pretty rapidly sometimes, as a result of human activities. For example, we know that farmers need water to irrigate their crops. And sometimes to get that water, they pump the water out of a nearby lake. They install pipes that run from the lake to their farms, and they pump the water out of the lake and into their fields. Now, that's okay if the lake is continually being refilled with rainwater or with water from streams that run into the lake. But if there isn't enough rainwater or stream water to replace the water the farmers take out of the lake will eventually dry up.
听力听完了呢，我们首先啊给出一个总括句。In this lecture, the professor talks about how lakes can disappear. He describes 2 ways lakes can disappear. One is through natural processes, and the other is through human activities. The example of natural processes is lakes that have lots of plants growing in them. With time, the plants grow and die and fall to the bottom, and finally fill up the lake, leave no room for water, and then the lake disappears. The demonstration of human activities cause is that farmers use lake water to irrigate crops. When there is not enough rainwater or stream water to refill the lake to replace the lost water, the lake will finally dry up. 也就是说啊，通过2种方式啊，第一种啊就是湖里面长的这样一些植物，第二种呢就是人为的这样一个因素。所以说呢，1、2两条原因摆出来啊，就可以了。然后我们最后呢来看一下29套题的第6题。Using points and examples from the lecture, explain 2 ways a company can diversify. 也是啊，2种途径 ，2 ways。那么我们一定要注意了，在做 notes 的时候还可以直接分类开了。A company can diversify. 那么 how can a company diversify? 这样就是我们听的一个重点。那么知道这个题目的要求以后呀，我们首先呀还是先听一下听力。
Listen to part of a lecture in a business class.
Okay, so of course businesses want to sell as many of their products as possible. Often a business sells mostly one type of product, but sales of this product may stop increasing because most potential customers have already bought it. In this situation, many companies will try to diversify, to develop new or diverse products in order to increase sales. There are a couple of efficient ways that a company can diversify using some of their existing resources. One way a company can diversify is to use an existing technology that they already have, to develop a new product. If a company already has the machines and technology to make a certain product, sometimes it can efficiently use that same technology to make a different product. For example, a company that makes televisions might start making computer monitors because the technology used to make these two products is very similar. So the company can use its existing technological resources to make the monitors. But with the monitors, it can reach new customers, people that wouldn't buy television screens, like businesses that need to buy monitors for their employees' computers. Another way a company can diversify is to try to appeal to its existing customers, its customer base, with a new product. One of a company's most important resources is its existing customers. And these customers might have other needs that the company could fulfill with a different product. For example, a company that sells skis might have a large customer base that enjoys winter sports, like skiing down snowy mountains. So they might start making ski jackets. The same customers that buy skis would also need warm ski jackets to wear while they're skiing. And since they like the company's skis, they might be more likely to buy the jackets with the company's name on them.
好的，听力听过去呢，我们知道首先我们要进行一个总括，然后其次呢，我们要给出 one, two 两条 ways. In the lecture, the professor talks about two strategies for companies to diversify their products in order to increase sales. 这就是一个总括句。那我建议大家在回答第6题之前都要包括这样一个句子。The first strategy is to use existing technology to develop new products. The professor gives the example of a television company. 一定要把这个例子听清楚。The television company also can produce computer monitor because the technology for both television and computer monitor is very similar. So the company can reach new customers by developing new products. 这就是一个总结。有时候甚至可以用你听到的原句。The second strategy is to appeal to existing customers by new products. The professor gives the example of a ski company. The ski company must have a lot of customers who like skiing very much. So the company also can produce some ski jackets to meet these customers' other demand. Because these customers are likely to buy the company's ski jackets with the same brand. 我们通过这两部分两条 ways, 那么 company can diversify. 那么就是咱们看出这个回答问题的结构了。第一个呢是一个总括，我希望呢大家都来一个总括，来一个总结。比如说你谈的这个主体句，然后加上 two ways 或者 two reasons whatever。第二个呢就是1、2把你的 reasons 或 ways 列出来。那么列的时候注意听里面的 examples， 这是非常重要的。那么如何训练听力呢？我觉得大家可以针对兴趣来训练。像我的话，我是比较喜欢看美剧英剧或者是听 BBC 这样一些电台的，所以大家没必要就是当那个苦行僧一样，每天戴着耳机听。其实呢，只要专注的听，比如说我每天抽半个小时到1个小时，我专门听，或者是我把那个字幕盖上，我看能不能看懂那个美剧，这都是非常好的训练方法。或者咱们直接做这样一些模拟题，反复的听，把咱们这些听力材料反复听，直到非常的熟悉，这对你而言都是一种非常好的选择。其实没必要听得多，只要听得精，这是咱们要做到的。那么以上呢就是咱们今天讲课的全部内容了，非常感谢。